Hey guys, welcome back to the Climbers Novel Writing Workshop. Now, in the previous videos, we saw what would be our purpose for writing and the different kinds of writing. Now, we are just about to dive into the session as it is. But before that, I want to give you a sort of pep talk to prepare you for what lies ahead for us. So, this video is going to be a lot about what it takes to be an author. So I'm going to give my personal experience so that so that I can share what I know about this journey ahead. As I've already mentioned, I have two books to my name. It's called both of them come under the Contractor series. The first one called The Legendary Contract of Vento, and the second one called Crusade for the Dragon Contracts. The first book came out in 2014, and the second in 2016. So ever since I was a kid, my parents made sure that they inculcated a reading habit in me because they knew exactly how important that was. So they ensured that I read at least one chapter of a book every night before heading to bed. And this actually had a very positive, this had a huge impact on my life as I started to love books. I love stories, and I started to go to the library on my own and took out books in random and started reading them. At the same time, I was also introduced to Japanese anime. So it started off with Dragon Ball Z, and then it went to Pokemon, Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist, Naruto, and so on. If any of you are anime fans out there, you know exactly how amazing those stories are now and how unique they are to any other TV show or cartoon. These Japanese anime also influence the way I perceive stories and how I visualize everything. You could say anime influenced my overactive imagination, and my pastime used to be daydreaming all the time. I used to spend time, like, whenever classes got boring, I just used to stand into space and think about these anime storylines and sort of deviate away from them and slowly make my own. So this became a habit over the years, and there was this one time, this one evening, where this one idea just struck me, and it seemed to develop really well. So I just spent this whole half an hour building up on this, and it slowly made shape into something concrete, which we now know as the Contractor series. So this idea was blowing up inside my head, and the only way I knew to express it was through words. So my love for books and my love for anime sort of combined and inspired me to start writing. I had zero writing experience before that. I didn't even have a blog. I didn't even keep a diary or anything. But just because I had this idea and I really wanted to bring it out and share it with people, I started writing. And I had no thought of bringing this out as a book all the way back then. I was in ninth grade then. So I just opened a Word document and started typing it out like a book. So chapter by chapter, my story started taking shape, and my language was pretty bad back then. But as I went on, I myself could see my writing evolving and becoming more mature and more. It was taking shape into something I could actually call a writing style. So, and I ended up telling my parents, like, when I just crossed over 150 pages or so, I sort of just casually told my parents, and they were pretty shocked. They had no idea I was writing this story. So I went on. So they actually, my parents were extremely supportive, and they made sure that I kept writing. And once I was done, they really liked the kind of story and the kind of writing I did. So I had to, but when you look at the starting of the book and the ending, there was this huge difference in the quality of writing. You would think two different people wrote it. There was such a change, such a gradual change as I kept writing. So I actually had to go back and edit the whole first half of the book. So that probably took almost, like, I finished the main manuscript at the end of my 10th grade, and by the time I was in 11th, it was sort of fixed. So after that, I went through the whole publishing process, which I will cover in another session in detail about my publishing experience. So that was it. I started getting reviews and feedback from other people, and I was surprised to see how positive they were. Because it was a very unique storyline. So a little bit about the Contractor series. It takes place in a fictional world called Gara, Anime fans can relate the names. I was pretty bad with names, so I used to take it off from things which inspired me. So, from in this world, there are mystical objects called contracts. These contracts are of three types: stone class, beast class, and weapon class. And people could control these. Or these objects had special powers, and people could control them using inner energy called ki. So, to control these objects, you need to offer a drop of your blood to them. And if your key was strong enough, you could use the powers these objects offered. So, this was the setting for my story. And the story sort of follows this character called Sora, who ends up acquiring this amazingly powerful contract, and how his life completely changes because of it. So it started off with this one idea. Like when I started writing it, I had planned a trilogy. But as I kept writing, the ideas kept evolving, and it slowly became a 5 book series. So after I brought out the book and put it on Amazon as well through an ebook, it blew up without me noticing. It had climbed up all the way to the third rank worldwide in all new fantasy releases for January 2015. So that was a huge response, and I did not expect that. I was getting feedback from all over the world telling me that this book was completely unexpected, especially from a debutant author who was just reaching 18. So that sort of inspired me, and that it was in that moment that I realized that I could actually do writing for a living. And I started working on a lot of other I started doing freelance content writing, and was also working on my second book as well. But because I had to balance between school and then college with writing, it was hard work, let me tell you. Writing is not easy. But what kept me going finally was that at the end of it all, when you get to hold that completed novel in your hand, there is no feeling that can match it. That euphoria you feel, you just feel like you've climbed a mountain, that you're on top of the world. And let me tell you, that is the best feeling in the world. So writing requires a lot, but it's not obviously that's language. It's important to have good language. It's important to, but more than that, it's about how you can visualize and how you interpret ideas, how you imagine things. And these are what are important to develop your story. But just developing the story is not enough. Writing it is a whole new ball game. It's about being patient. It's about being diligent. It's about being sincere and sticking to writing. Even when you have a writer's block, when you just can't, when you're stuck in a single paragraph for the whole day, it's okay. Don't be disheartened by it. Just keep trying, keep writing. Just be diligent and keep working towards it. My first book, while I was studying for my 10th board exams and 10th board exams, I still continued writing then, and the manuscript took me 14 months to do. But despite all the stumbles I went across, I never let that keep me down. So apart from good language and imagination, what is most important is that you never give up and you follow it because you have the passion. That is why it is so important to write what you love. That is what is going to keep you writing. So yes, language, imagination, ideas, stories are all important. What is most important is your passion for it and your diligence and your sincerity towards bringing out a masterpiece.